This is a post-fight analysis of Beterbiev versus Bivol. Hello everybody, welcome to Boxing Science. My name's Danny Wilson, a strength and conditioning coach, and in this video we're going to be providing a detailed analysis of the unbelievable, undisputed light heavyweight clash between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. This was an unbelievable fight and many people thinking that it was a robbery, with Artur Beterbiev taking all 4 belts home, with most people thinking that Dmitry Bivol was actually the deserved winner. I was actually in Saudi Arabia to absorb the atmosphere during fight week and to watch these 2 great fighters do their final preparations. I was over there with British and Commonwealth heavyweight champion Fabio Wardley. We've been supporting Fabio for the last 4 years, and he was in his rematch against Fraser Clarke. The first fight was a draw. This fight was a statement. Fabio got the first round knockout win. Unbelievable performance, which put Fabio now in the top 10 Ring Magazine heavyweight rankings. So really exciting times for Fabio, and it was great to be a part of his fight preparation for this fight. So going back to this fight between Artur Beterbiev and Bivol, a lot of people thought that this fight was a robbery, thinking that Bivol was a deserved winner. But actually looking at the fight analysis, is it a robbery or not? There's a lot of debates going online, so we're going to be providing the most detailed and comprehensive analysis using AI technology. This is provided by Jabber.ai. Go and check them out on Instagram, where they've provided all the detailed numbers, analysis, and what we're going to be doing is breaking down the numbers that they've provided to give insights to how close this fight was, and also what were the keys to success for both boxers. So let's take a look at the post-fight analysis of Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. So first of all, was this fight a robbery? In my eyes, I thought that Bivol won at the time, but I thought it was very close. And actually looking back at the fight in detail and looking at the numbers, it's probably even closer, and I can't really split each boxer. Different caveats. It's not just about the amount of punches landed and landed per round. It's what was hurtful, what was high impact, what was thrown in combinations. And this is what we're going to be going into during this analysis. Beterbiev predominantly being on the front foot, a lot of pressure applied to Bivol, and he was throwing punches after punches. He threw over 1,000 punches over 12 rounds, which is unbelievable for any weight category, in particular the light heavyweights. Bivol uses superior footwork and hand speed to work on the outside and to be landing blistering combinations. With Beterbiev throwing over 1,000 punches, you'd be thinking, right, that gives him the right to win this fight. However, he only landed 233 punches. This was just 14 more than Dmitry Bivol. According to the Jabber AI technology, Bivol actually landed over double the amount of high impact shots. Beterbiev had the punch volume, but in terms of the intensity and the high impact rating, Dmitry Bivol actually landed double amount of punches. So it's dependent on what the judges are actually seeing during them rounds. Beterbiev was more consistent in terms of his approach, looking for high volume, keeping on the front foot and working in pressure, whereas like Bivol was using his footwork, using L steps, working around the ring, often holding his feet to then land some blistering combination punches. And these like blistering combinations might have swayed a lot more people watching from home or in the arena to be actually thinking that Bivol was winning the fight. However, because Beterbiev was landing more and chipping away at Bivol, that might have influenced the judges in a different way. That's why so many people are split on this decision. So it's not about the amount of punches that was actually thrown across the full fight, but actually what was thrown and landed each and every round. Beterbiev outworked Bivol every single round. He threw more punches from round 1 all the way through to round 12. Out of those 12 rounds, Beterbiev outlanded Bivol 7 times. So he won 7 of the rounds. Some of those rounds were only 3 or 4 punches in it. They were very close, with round 11 being very significant in terms of a very strong round to Beterbiev. 2 of those rounds were drawn, and 3 of the rounds, Bivol was a clear winner in terms of how many punches were landed. Using this data, you'd be thinking that Beterbiev would be a clear winner. However, to flip it on its head, looking at the high impact shots that was landed per round, Bivol actually outlanded the high impact shots over 8 rounds. So this is why a lot of people felt like Bivol won and won quite convincingly, and why this fight was a robbery. The problem in boxing sometimes is that it's all based on perception of the judges and where that's influenced. The amount of punches that was actually thrown and landed by Beterbiev, when I was there ringside, I kept noticing that Beterbiev really stepped on the gas in the last 30 seconds. So it's like in mixed martial arts, their judging is very open in terms of like, this is what we're looking for, amounts of minutes and seconds of dominance over the round. So Bivol was probably winning 2 minutes of every round, or 2 minutes 30 of every round, and Beterbiev was coming on really strong in the last 30 to 60 seconds. And this is what might have won some of the rounds for Beterbiev. So really interesting in terms of his pacing strategy, as he was conserving his energy for these bursts of the final 30 seconds that helped him win the rounds. But also down the back straight, he won on the judges' scorecard rounds 10, 11 and 12. So he won all the championship rounds. And this is what essentially won the fight for Beterbiev. And this is represented actually in his punch stats, where especially round 11 was a really successful round for him, where he really stepped on the gas looking for that knockout. And actually in the corner, the coaches were saying to Beterbiev that he needed a knockout, really needed to step it up. And he saw that in round 11. Didn't get that knockout, but essentially rounds 10, 11, 12 is what won Beterbiev the fight. So to conclude this first part of this analysis, was this a robbery? Should Bivol have won the fight? If you've watched in to see whether it was a robbery or not, and whether Bivol should have won, you're going to be disappointed, because I'm still sitting on the fence with this. It could have gone either way. It's all based off the judge's perception. We're looking at the pure volume of Beterbiev, high impact shots that were landed by Dmitry Bivol, the combination punches that were landed by Dmitry Bivol, minutes of dominance over a round versus the actual amount of punches that are landed per round. It's all based on perception. And this is sometimes the beauty of boxing, but also it's the ugly side of boxing, where you might not end up getting the right decision. But for me, I think that it wasn't a robbery. And if anything, this shows what a 50-50 fight this actually was. So it actually met their expectations. It was an unbelievable fight of skill, of fitness, of athleticism. It had its sways of momentum. So it was an unbelievable fight, pure 50-50. So instead of thinking, oh, Bivol should have won that fight, I'm looking at that fight thinking, it was unbelievable. It sets up the rematch, so we get to see it all again. So that's what my thoughts are. Let's have a look at the keys to success for both fighters, starting with Artur Beterbiev. So looking at the keys to success for Artur Beterbiev. First of all, a huge amount of punches thrown, 1,022. 60% of these punches were jabs, throwing over 600 jabs. However, a lot of these were missed. He only landed 116 jabs, but this was his most successful punch. At one point, it was like battle of the jabs in terms of like how Beterbiev threw his, which were a very strong and stiff jab. Bivol's been electric and fast, really pinging Beterbiev with that jab. So Beterbiev's work was done by single punches with the jab or the lead right hand. Over 53% of Beterbiev's punches were single shots. Actually, looking at his work, it doesn't really seem like he has actually throwing a lot of single punches. I think it's because of the delay, like a jab, he like kind of pauses and then throws a backhand. In comparison to a lot of boxers, especially Bivol, throw a jab and then a right hand really quickly. Beterbiev's style was like a jab, pull it back, and then a delayed shot, which made it really hard for Bivol to time. So this is why he was so successful with the single shots and why he threw them so often. Important punch that he threw really early on was the lead hand to the body, throwing a jab to the body, and this were really successful as well. He threw 15 across the fight with 13 landed. Really accurate with this lead jab to the body. 53% of his punches were thrown as single punches, 29% of his punches were thrown during 2-shot combinations. The most frequent combination that Beterbiev used was the jab right hand straight or the jab right hook around the guard. And also right hand into the lead hook was also used quite often. Beterbiev had his most successful rounds in round 7 and, like I said, in round 11 when he really stepped on the gas and kept Bivol under intense pressure. During these attacks, he liked to throw the right hook to the body, often pivoting to land it right in the midsection of Dmitry Bivol. And this often was after a 2 or 3 punch combination. Really interesting data there on Beterbiev, using the jab or the right hand as single punches to set up mostly 2-shot combinations. He was there to land them single punches, which were really heavy, or going into a 2-shot combination, which was either jab and a right hand, jab and a right hook, and then also a right hand and a lead hook. And then also his body work was really effective and really accurate, with the jab, lead jab to the body, landing 13 times out of the 15 times thrown. Going into the rematch, you'd be thinking that Beterbiev would be potentially looking to work that body even more, because that set up him to be fitter into the later rounds of the fight, being able to win them vital championship rounds. Now for the keys to success for Dmitry Bivol. First of all, his footwork was sublime. How he glided across the ring, were able to evade danger whilst also setting up his own attacks. It was unbelievable to see. He also landing blistering combinations. His hand speed was electric, and it was fantastic to see that live. His jab, he threw 350 jabs. Out of them 350, he actually landed 141, which is a high success rate for a jab, especially in the light heavyweight division. So his jab was really, really fast and causing Beterbiev some real problems. And these jabs were often thrown as single shots or to set up combinations. In comparison to Beterbiev, Bivol threw less single punches. Bivol only threw 39% single punches compared to Beterbiev's 53%. The rest of the punches were either in 2, 3 or 4 punch combinations. We got 24% in 2-shot combinations, 21% in 3-shot combinations, and 17% thrown in 4 punch combinations. Most of these combinations started with the jab, followed up with a right hand or right hook to the head. A lot of his work was done to the head. A lot of these 2, 3, 4 punch combinations were actually done upstairs. With these flurries, probably caught a lot of attention from the fans watching, but also the judges ringside. These were really successful, but his 2 and 3 punch combinations had a high amount of success rate, with over 30% of these punches landing. However, his 4 punch combinations were actually a lot lower than 30%, sitting around about 20% punch rate. With the 4 punch combinations, even though that these were good, Beterbiev kept that tight guard and blocking a lot onto his gloves. So almost like Bivol working in these 4-shot combinations weren't being as effective, but also weren't going to be efficient for his fitness. So looking at like tweaks for the rematch, you'd be looking at 2 or 3 punch combinations rather than kind of going towards them 4 punch combinations. Like I said, this is pretty new technology using Jabber.ai. Fantastic to see this being used and distributed online for boxing enthusiasts like me to have a look at it and really look at what are the keys to success for each fighter. Okay guys, so that's the end of the video and the end of this analysis. I really enjoyed looking at these numbers to kind of back up like seeing this live, to see these two incredible fighters and athletes go at it for 12 rounds in a pure 50-50 fight was unbelievable, something that I'll never forget. Really enjoyed doing this, really enjoyed being there, and hopefully the rematch will happen, be able to see it all again. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've got any questions or comments about this analysis, please leave them in the comment box below. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. You don't miss out on any future content where we're sharing everything about sports science and strength and conditioning for boxing, and also our Boxing Science React series where we actually break down the training methods of champions. We've recently done one on Beterbiev and Bivol, and also we have a range of different champions that we've done reaction videos for. So if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content. I'll hopefully see you on the next video at Boxing Science.